All right, and ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you once again to the Gafford and Brown Show. This is Lamar Gafford,
This is Robert Brown.
and we are here for a great episode, episode 12. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter show this time around, but I know we're going to jump right into the topics here. We're going to start off with the Super Bowl recap. And man, Rob, the game last night, the Ravens, they won their second Super Bowl title ever by the score of 34-31. Pretty good game, wouldn't you say so, Rob?
Yeah, I would say it was a pretty good game in the second half. I mean, starting out, it looked like it was going to go to round blowout because the Ravens were so quick to get on the board, and the momentum seemed to be in their favor. And the Colin Kaepernick experience, seeing him do so well in the playoffs earlier, we were expecting that momentum to keep going, and it didn't. And he had a great second half, but that first half really set the Niners back. Costly turnovers, just a lot of things that went wrong on the defensive end as well. And then the Niners really looked to be done. We had the blackout incident, which I guess we'll go more into detail about a little later. But the comeback in the second half was great, and it was a solid Super Bowl. Not one of the greatest, I wouldn't say, not one of the best. I wouldn't put it in the top 10, but it was a solid Super Bowl. What about you, Lamar? What are your thoughts on Super Bowl 47?
Well, I have to say so too. I mean, I think in a way, pretty much for at least the Niners' perspective, it looked like they got overwhelmed by most of the first half. And actually, even after the halftime show, when we saw Jacoby Jones getting that 108-yard kick return, when they were down by 22 points, down 28-6, they really did look overwhelmed. And I guess at the time, the timely blackout here, that proved timely for them, and it got them to get back into the game in this one. Would it be one of the top 10 Super Bowls in my mind? I really don't know about that, to be honest with you. But it was a greatly played game and everything. You had a lot of storylines, and you have to really say so about that one too.
Right, and the storyline aspect is what really carried the Super Bowl. I'm sure, when it's all said and done, this Super Bowl will be more so remembered for the Harbaugh storyline, Ray Lewis riding out into the sunset with the ring, and the blackout.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of things there, a lot of historic moments, like Jacoby Jones touchdown and Flacco into the playoffs with no interceptions. But it fell a little short as far as the hype department. I mean, the second half really took a lot of steam out the game, and the blackout really, I'm sure a Super Bowl party there will put to a screeching halt when the blackout happened. And, people probably left, things of that nature. It was weird. It was weird. It was something we've never seen before. So, it was a solid game. Solid game played by two teams that really showed a lot of heart. The fight, the fights that broke out. We rarely see that in the Super Bowl. You think in the regular season game playoffs, but to see that intensity, unfold on the field, helmets being taken off, things of that nature, it was exciting.
Exactly, and I'm glad that the referees did allow them to play a little bit too. I mean, I for one, I kind of like seeing a good athletic fight. Seeing the two teams go at it with each other, and pretty much we hadn't really seen that two teams that they are known for a little bit for their offense, but also they have a little bit of a defensive feel to it. You can really see the intensity in the game and all that going along. And I mean, that right there just showed to me here that it was a pretty good game. It was competitive and stuff, and you got the brother aspect as well too.
Right, and the storylines really developed after the game as well. Ray Lewis this is really his last hurrah. What's next for him? What's next for this Ravens defense? What moves are they going to make come draft, come off season? The Niners and the Alex Smith saga. Does he stay? Are you really sold on Kaepernick? Do you want to keep Alex Smith as maybe a safety blanket, security?
Mm-hmm.
what about, Randy Moss? Where is he going to go? Is he going to stay a Niner? We've heard him be a little vocal about him not liking his role. So, will he leave? Will he retire? Just a lot of great storylines going. Flacco in the contract, is he going to get paid? I'm pretty sure he's going to get paid now. Things of that nature. So it's pretty interesting. We've got a little while before draft time. So we have a lot of highlights to discuss about the game. Dissect this for a little while before we get interested in the draft. So the storyline after the Super Bowl is always great because you have so many what ifs. What's going to happen going on?
And I have to agree on that one too because I really don't think because looking at it right now, could the Ravens be able to get the chance to repeat? And you gotta worry about their defense a little bit too. Like I don't think most of the heart and soul of their defense is pretty much going to come back. I mean, of course you're going to have Ray Lewis. He's going to leave maybe, and more than likely. And you got a gaping hole at pretty much at the middle linebacker position. And then we don't know what's going to happen with Ed Reed. I mean, does he decide to go on to another team, try to get another ring that way, or does he decide, well, hey, I mean, I'm done right now. I mean, I got my ring. I won a championship in my own backyard. Stuff like that. Do you think that the Ravens might be a little bit hard pressed to repeat this next year?
No, I'm going to say this now. They're definitely not going to win another Super Bowl. I don't see them even going to the Super Bowl because, one, their division is only getting better.
Mm-hmm.
So their road to the playoffs isn't easy. They have the Steelers, who you really can't count out. I mean, they had a lot of injuries this year to take them out of playoff contention. You had the Bengals, who are still developing. I mean, they've been in the playoffs 2 years in a row. And you have the Cleveland Browns, who have a good young core. They just need, the right leader, the right coach, to get them over that hump and start winning more games. So their division is getting better. You can't count on New England. Even though, Baltimore was able to get over them this year, they're going to come back motivated. They're going to make some off-season moves. Teams like the Colts, the Texans, the Broncos. I mean, it's going to be a tough road, and I can't see them getting over that hump again because one thing about winning a Super Bowl, you need a little touch of luck. A little touch of luck, and the Ravens got that little touch of luck this playoff postseason because, think about the Broncos game. Things, they were lucky enough to get a rookie in the first round of the playoffs. Andrew Luck. The Bronco game, which how we can go on about that. The bombs. The Jacoby Jones play with the safety fall. I mean, there's a lot of luck, a lot of right calls, right plays, the right time going. It's a team of destiny thing. And I don't see that happening again next year. And we already know the stats about teams that win the Super Bowl and how hard it is for them to even make the playoffs. So I can't see Baltimore going back. What about you, Lamar? What are your thoughts?
I really don't. I really can't either. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of it's going to be a tougher role for them. I think right now their offense is actually pretty good. I mean, they have a much better offense than, let's say, than the last time they won the Super Bowl, like 12 years ago. Much better offense, much better quarterback with Joe Flacco. You also got, Ray Rice who can catch passes also out of the backfield as well, and a little bit more better receivers with Anquan Bolden and Torrey Smith. But the only thing, if they want to try to get right back into the Super Bowl and even the playoffs and possibly even keep on competing for that division, their defense has to get better. They have to make at least a couple of moves in the draft. Some of the younger players are going to have to step up, and also they're probably going to have to also make some moves in free agency in order to do pretty well too. But looking at it right now, I really think I can't see them going back to the Super Bowl because I really think that the Denver Broncos are probably going to be the favorite that's going to come in next year because you still got Peyton Manning and you still have their defense out there. Next in line, I would love to say probably the Texans. Maybe the lessons that they earned this year is probably going to help them out. It's only going to go so far just to help them out. The Colts are getting better as well. I think the North, you got the Bengals, they're going to get better. The Steelers are always going to be right there. And I think the Patriots are always going to be right there. So it's going to be a little bit of a tough one, right, with that one in that regard, too. They're just going to have to get a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball. Replace those players.
Yeah. Now, what about the Niners? What do you place the Niners odds making it back to the Super Bowl again?
I really think that the Niners have a pretty decent shot, a much better shot probably than the Ravens, because this is a young team that is basically getting even better, and they're playing the ball. They're playing pretty much the right way, smash mouth football, and now you got that aspect with Colin Kaepernick. It's just gonna be up to him to see, is he a one-hit wonder, or can he do this again? Can he, make some adaptations to his game? Can he become an even better player and all that? And we've seen some great flashes of it. He's just gonna have to keep it up. For the Niners, though, I think their main competition is pretty much going to be either the Packers, of course, they're going to be there, and I think the Seahawks are probably going to battle them a little bit, and who knows, the Falcons might even try to do pretty well, too. What do you think, Rob?
Well, yeah, I agree totally that they have a better chance of going than the Ravens because the NFC is so up and down sometimes, but I mean, they also make the argument that their road is tougher because their division has potential to get even better because, this year it was a race between them and the Seahawks, and you also had teams like the Rams and the Cardinals that had hot start, and, the Rams were making improvements. They have a playoff, a Super Bowl coach in Jeff Fisher, and, they're making adjustments right now to get them over the hump of, finishing 8-8 and 7-9 and things of that sort. And then you have the Cardinals who really just need a quarterback, and they're right there. So you can make the argument that the Niners roll is just as hard as the Ravens, but I think they have a good chance of getting back because their defense is loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Kaepernick, who's the future, he's guaranteed probably a new contract, but he's not making much right now, and he's young. And you still have to worry about teams like the Packers. You still have to worry about the Giants. But, there are more inconsistent teams in the NFC than there are the AFC,
Right.
You have teams that get hot and, then they get cold again, like Atlanta, a good regular season team, but when it comes to the playoffs, they usually fold. Right now, the only competition I can really see as far as, going against San Francisco is or the Saints. I see the Saints being a team right now that has a lot to prove. I mean, they just got their coach back, and they're better than what we saw last season. And I think firing Spagnolia, the draft coming off season, I think they're going to be a team that takes a huge step next year and returns back to their winning ways, their new winning ways. So I definitely see them. Who knows? Maybe the Cowboys finally get their act together next year. Things of that. I mean, there's a lot of storylines for next season, and I think the Niners have a good shot at going back, but it won't be easy. But I think it's easier than the Ravens.
Yeah, and I have to agree, and like I said, good thing that you did point out the Saints because, I think the Saints are probably going to be one of those teams that's actually going to. You can see the loss of Sean Payton and what that did to that team, and right now, you get him back. Who knows? They might can get a little bit of a roll. And again, of course, that NFC East is always going to be tough too because now we're going to see what's going to happen pretty much with the Redskins. Does RG3 get back healthy? What can the Giants do? What can the Eagles do with Chip Kelly as their head coach? And can the Cowboys actually stop being schizophrenic and actually put together a pretty decent season and be consistent and everything?
Right. So the storylines are ended. Another storyline I want to ask you about Lamar is the Alex Smith saga. What do you think the Niners are going to do with Alex Smith, and where do you think he's going to land next year?
It's going to be pretty interesting, and I feel like that Alex Smith is more than likely he's probably going to ask for his release. That's what I'm thinking actually. And but I think as we tried to say this a lot of times before, he'll probably land on his feet somewhere in some position where where a team really needs a quarterback. Of course, you're looking at the list right here. Arizona definitely needs one. Kansas City could need one as well. Who knows? A team like Jacksonville could put themselves into play if they choose not to. If they choose to cut the Blaine Gabbert experimentation a little bit here. Maybe the Bills try to get him. Maybe the Jets try to get him. But he'll land on his feet. So what do you think about that, Rob?
Well, I totally agree with your opinion on Alex Smith. I definitely see him, asking for his release and wanting to start over. There are, like you just said, a list of teams that want him or could use his talents. The Jets, of course, the Raiders even, the Cardinals, the list goes on. And I'm sure he's going to do well wherever he goes because Alex Smith, at least to me, has shown that he's capable of leading a team, far in the playoffs. We saw that the year before last, when they were one game away from the Super Bowl. But he's definitely going to ask for his release. And I'm sure the Lions are going to grant him that because he's due for a bigger contract. And you don't want to pay a backup that much money. Even though Kaepernick's performance in the Super Bowl wasn't what you would expect, what we were expecting, he still almost led a great comeback,
Right.
Second half, they made adjustments, and he made the necessary adjustments to, move the ball downfield. I mean, he took away a couple key catches. One thing we didn't talk about was that holding play. The Boulder Crabtree that ended the game practically. And, you take that away, I mean, there's a possibility that the Niners get the pass interference call, move them within scoring range, score a touchdown, and if that happens, it's a whole different game. So, things like that, you see greatness in Kaepernick, you see the future. So Alex Smith is more than likely not going to be a Niner next year, and I'm pretty sure he's happy about that because, I mean, just looking at the guy, he looks hurt. He's in the Super Bowl for the first time, but, he's not necessarily a factor into why they're there. And I was making jokes on Twitter, like Alex Smith cut the lights off because damn it, I want to play. But we're gonna see. It's interesting though the storyline with Alex Smith because what if he goes to Arizona, a division rival of the Niners, and he goes to town on 40 guys. Things like that really spice up the league, spice up that division. So who knows? I'm excited about his possibilities. And another thing is, what if somehow, some way, the Niner organization gets a little scared about, what they saw in Kaepernick, and they might, hey, Alex, we're sorry, but we'll give you a competition with the guy, and whoever wins gets the starting job. Who knows? He might stay a Niner, but I find that to be very unlikely, but you never know in the NFL. So, and he's going to land on his feet.
And you're right, too, because hey, that could actually do pretty well. There's just the one thing here. I look at Kaepernick, and I really think that he's ready. I mean, you look at him over the course of the 3 playoff games that they've had this season. I mean, you look at the game, the divisional game against Green Bay. He throws a pick 6 to begin the game with, and it turns out he has like a remarkable performance, one of the best running exhibitions as a quarterback in a playoff game. And then against Atlanta, you saw that they were down 17 points. It didn't rattle him too much. They won the game, and down 22, they won. They almost got a chance to win this game. So, but who knows? I mean, you never know what Alex Smith might be able to do. And hey, if he gets on with Arizona, well, it can actually do some great wonders for this league.
Right. So moving on, let's touch on the blackout thing. Let's say the blackout, it happened. Let's say the 49ers pulled off their win. What backlash would the NFL receive if the Niners pulled off their win after the blackout?
Oh man, I don't even want to think about that because I have a feeling that many people are probably going to say, well, the Niners did win the Super Bowl, but, and that would have been a little bit of a tough thing to answer and all that stuff. And knowing that, the blackout could have happened anywhere. I mean, it could have happened last year. It could have happened 10 years ago. It could happen next year. It could happen, 10 years ago or something like that. I understand that it could happen, but the Niners would have had to answer those type of questions. They would have had that cloud over their head, and it kind of would have been they would have had to at least try to see that can they do it again, though, just to legitimize their thoughts of winning the Super Bowl. Wouldn't you say so?
So I want to have another question. Would there be an asterisk put on their Super Bowl title if they were to come back and win after the blackout?
In a lot of people's minds, I have a feeling that it would have been probably a little bit of an asterisk about that, because the momentum and all that stuff. And I hate to really have to do that in an amazing game like that. Even if a team did come back from 22 points, but having a 30-minute break after you had your halftime that was about 20 minutes too. That kind of takes a little bit of the momentum of the sales. And it looked like the Ravens were ready, and it looked like the Niners were chilling. But then again, it came out, the Niners, they just came out on all cylinders right then and there, with nothing to lose.
Right. And this is where I got to take this topic to the barbershop, I have to get a little barbershopish on this one, my little conspiracy theorist comes out, and, it smells a little funny. It smells a little funny. I mean, you have the Super Bowl, you have the storyline of the Harbaugh brothers, you have Ray Lewis riding out into the sunset. Game comes on, Baltimore owns the thing. I mean, Baltimore has complete control of this game. You said 28-6. Niners look sluggish. Kaepernick looks shook. Looks like we're probably going to end up having a blowout, which is never good for the Super Bowl. And then the lights go out. Lights going out in the Super Bowl is just, it's uncommon because there's so many, precautions and, scenarios that they've already gone over, the level of security, etc. So you see something like this happen, it's like, what? And then to see the Niners go on this amazing run, almost win the game, to see the Ravens look a little sluggish, it raises a few eyebrows.
It definitely does. I mean, and I mean, like you said, it definitely does, and it never happened. And and I hate to even personalize it to like the own state, but it kind of makes us look bad too, because you gotta, because a lot of people were making jokes and all that stuff, and I remember I on Twitter I said blame Jindal, and that kind of got to be the hit of the day, because all that different type of stuff too. But I can really see where you're talking about it. Yeah, I said let the conspiracy theories begin, and it just seemed weird for that to happen at that point in time and all that stuff. And it kind of bailed out the 49ers a little bit too. You think?
Yeah, completely bailed them out, because that team, I mean, the run they went on after that was almost something out of a movie. The throws Kaepernick was making, his bodies were completely throws down the field. They were moving the ball. They were making less mistakes. The defense was on fire. I mean, the sack on Flacco. I mean, they looked to be, ready to take over, ready to win the game. And then you had the dramatic play, the last drive Zions had, where they were getting the right break, they were making the right plays. The holding play on Crabtree, they could have went either way. And then the Niners still had a chance to win because the Baltimore Ravens took a safety, which gave them the ball, gave them points and the ball back. And I can't say again, known for running kickback, but he could have easily ran it back for a touchdown. You never know. So it was, and that would have probably been one of the greatest endings to the Super Bowl ever. I think it easily would have been the greatest comeback we've seen. So, the storyline was there. But it just makes you wonder. It makes you just scratch your head a little bit. You wonder, and we still, at this time, I'm not certain. Maybe you can inform me, but we still don't know what caused this blackout, per se.
And we still, that's what we're still trying to find out and everything. I mean, and and funny that you did mention about the Ted Ginn play. I mean, what could have happened if, what if we would have had like a Stanford Cal play, like part 2 in that? I mean, that would have been something in Super Bowl lore, and we would have been like, that would have been something that everybody would talk about forever and ever and ever.
Right, and the decisions for them to, take that safety will forever be like, well, why did Baltimore do that? They're just kicking it would have been crazy. So, I mean, but at the end of the day, the Ravens won. They're the Super Bowl champions, but, this gave a lot of fuel for, conspiracy theories and people who already say that the games are fixed and et cetera. And I'm pretty sure people in Vegas were pissed off when the blackout happened. They were like, hey, what's going on? And then the crazy thing is that the score was 31-34. I think it wasn't a 3-point spread.
I'm checking it out right now, actually, and let's see. Actually, the Niners were favored by 4 points.
4 points. So, I mean, it's crazy. This is a crazy scenario, and it better not happen again ever. I'm pretty sure it won't happen again. Now Goodell's watch, because if there's anything he hates, it's for the integrity of the game to be questioned. So
exactly, and we're really gonna have to see how it's also gonna bold up too for next year's Super Bowl going to be in New York too, because I'm not warmed up to that feeling here, because more than likely it's gonna be cold and it's probably might be a snow fest, and that could affect the game somehow.
Right, and people hate cold in the Super Bowl. Like that's why the Super Bowl takes place, usually in southern locations. In domes too. We have Miami, Detroit. Detroit has the Ford Field. Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was New Orleans' 10th Super Bowl. So things like that. I'm pretty sure Jerry Jones won the Super Bowl in his stadium every year.
Oh yeah.
Since he has the fanciest one, but who knows? Who knows if next year it happens again due to bad weather? But I'm pretty sure Goodell and company are going to take major precautions to keep anything from happening ever again.
Oh yes, so, and you already know that's pretty much going to happen and all that stuff. We're gonna go ahead and take ourselves a 30-minute break, and we're gonna come right back onto the airways while we're gonna talk about a little bit of the awards from the NFL and also some of the other sports as well. This is the Gafford and Brown Show. We will be right back. Wow. All right, we're back on the air to the Gafford and Brown Show, and like we said, we had a very good first segment. Once again, if you are listening, you can make a comment on the lower right column here. Drop us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. If you have some thoughts, tell us. If you can Skype us also, Primetime2832, or you can also tweet us at Primetime2832 or Uptown Bobby. And now we're going to also talk about what happened as far as the awards were concerned too. And right now, some of the more important awards here, Adrian Peterson won the MVP. Comeback player was Peyton Manning. Rookie of the Year was Russell Wilson. From the Pepsi Rookie of the Year. AP Offensive Rookie of the Year was RG3. Defensive Rookie of the Year, let's see, Luke Kuechly. And I think the Coach of the Year was Bruce Arians. Offensive Player of the Year was Adrian Peterson, and Defensive Player of the Year was J.J. Watt. Wouldn't you say they got all these awards right? Or
Oh yeah, most definitely. I agree that everything was right. I mean, me being a Broncos fan and now being a huge Peyton Manning fan, I mean, yeah, it was nice to see Peyton win the MVP. And I still think Peyton has the better story, per se. But the phenomenal player, Adrian Peterson, the amazing story of doing what he did with, coming back from ACL, carrying that team on his back to the playoffs. I mean, he deserves it. It could have. There's no losers in that situation to me. And I wanted to see it to go the other way around with Adrian Peterson when he come back player of the year and Peyton with the MVP. But hey, like I said, there's no losers in that. Both guys did well, did amazing things. Both are probably going to be in the playoffs again next year. And, you know, you can't fault anybody in that. Rookie of the year, well, hey, Russell Wilson definitely deserved it. All three guys definitely, we got Ruggs, RG3, Wilson. All three guys were capable of winning it. But, hey, Russell Wilson, the guy that went through the most adversity, he beat a starter. I mean, people forget that he beat Matt Flynn. The Seahawks invested a lot of money in Matt Flynn. You know, he was supposed to be the future. And Russell Wilson took this guy's job, a rookie who went third round, who was said to be too short, you know, and the guy took him to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, almost took out the number one seeded Atlanta Falcons. So, I mean, Russell Wilson definitely deserved that award. J.J. Watt put on a great run this year. You know, one of the best defense players we have. The way he's almost changed the way the game's played with his ball swatting ability. You know, the guy's a freak, and I thought every award going to, you know, the person that deserved it. No controversy for me. What about you, Lamar?
I really have no controversies either. I think they hit the nail on the head in every single one of these awards. And I had to actually give props to Bruce Arians for them naming Bruce Arians the Coach of the Year. I mean, the first interim head coach to ever win that award, because you saw how he did with the coach with Chuck Pagano being, you know, sidelined due to the leukemia treatments as well, and he really did a masterful job going 9-3, being one of the major parts of carrying this team into the playoffs. And look at it right now. He got him a head coaching position with the Arizona Cardinals. So you have to give him props about that one. As far as the comeback player and the MVP, I feel you on that one, though. I think it could have been flipped, but really you can't have any bad losers in this one, though. Peyton had an amazing season. And, you know, you also got Adrian Peterson, who had also equally as an amazing season as well, too. So, you know, I could really see that. And as far as the Rookie of the Year, hey, RG3, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, you really couldn't go wrong with either one of them. So you got to give every single person props in this one too. And this was a very good season, and you also got to like that too.
Right. Great season, great ending. You know, you really have stars. The NFL, to me, took the NBA route with building new stars. You know, Russell Wilson, RG. All those guys are potential stars. It's really a great story. You know, you see these guys, and they're really the future of J.J. Watt as well. You know, these guys are young, they're talented, Colin Kaepernick, you know, Joe Flacco here. You know, he's finally proven that he's in that conversation when it comes to, you know, top 10, top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. And it's really a great time for the NFL and their potential growth. I mean, this is already America's game, you know, America's number one sport, but, I mean, they're doing the things that's going to keep them America's number one sport.
And that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to keep the ball rolling in that case, too. And I know, again, with Roger Goodell wanting to try to make the game safer, and he's doing a pretty good job at that. Even though some points in the time he might be taking a little bit of the savage aspect of the game out of there too. For some reasons, you know, you can understand, but also some other reasons you kind of want them to play football though too. But if you build, once again, as what they said in the Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. And once again, you can build young stars. They can take the role of maybe, you know, like you said, Ray Lewis. He's leaving, but then again, you can build a young superstar, and he might can actually fill in that role pretty well, and somebody can actually, you know, get some of the younger kids to aspire. Hey, I want to be that guy, you know.
Right. So, you know, like the NFL is growing. What do you think about the presentation of the awards? This is the second year in existence. Do you like the concept? Do you think it should be one that happens every year? It should continue to be an annual thing?
I actually think that it is. I think it's a good idea too that they put this concept, because we used to did not know how they did the awards unless they put it on Sports Center. Like if they put it, they might flash the NFL. One day they'll probably announce, okay, who won the Rookie of the Year, and the next day they might announce who won the Offensive Player of the Year, then the Defensive Player of the Year, and then the MVP and all that stuff. And while that was a decent way of how they did that, this kind of brings a little bit of a better aspect of it. It kind of gives the the NFL a little bit more of an Oscar type feel,
Right. Do you think other leagues should adopt this? Like the NBA adopted it when it does their awards, or the MLB when it announces their winners and losers. I mean, well, not losers, but their winners.
I actually think they should, and it's something that they really should look into that. I know for sure the NHL does it, and also college football does it for every major award except for the Heisman, which that's in its own entity as well. But it gives it gives the players a chance to, I guess, beat each other. Look at the accomplishments. Again, it gives it a little bit of an Oscar type feel. Instead of just running the little bulletin out there, hey, put it someplace. If in the case of the NBA, maybe you could just put it after the finals is over with. Put it in like mid-June, before the draft or something like that, or hold it at the draft site, but not during the draft, of course. And do something like that. I would like to see that happen, actually.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea. With the growing power of ESPN in their award show, did you ever see one day, ESPN, the SBC, like giving out, being in charge of all those awards?
Well, I got a feeling that they might will be. Now, we don't know about the NFL because you got a lot of people that's trying to, CBS, they're going to want their cut. NBC wants their cut. And Fox will probably want their cut next year with the awards probably being in their with the awards being in their Super Bowl backyard too. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what they're going to do, but I would definitely love to see that happen.
Right. It's all about growth, and the presentation is nice.
Mm-hmm. So. And sadly, I did not get a chance to see it this year, but I got a chance to see it last year, and that was exciting to see to see it happen like that. So there you go. Now, also looking at it, we're shifting sports now to basketball. We got a little bit of I think, an addition to the All-Star game. We saw, I know you were talking about Brook Lopez not getting a chance to be in the All-Star game, but he gets in now, replacing the injured Rajon Rondo. What do you think about that decision?
You know me, I think it was much deserved that Brook Lopez gets a chance to play in the All-Star game, because he's really, if you want to go about statistically, he's one of the best centers in the NBA. And for a new franchise like the Brooklyn Nets, it's big they get at least one All-Star on the team. The high-profile players, Darren Williams and Joe Johnson, not being able to go, it kind of looks good that, somebody gets to represent them. And Brook Lopez, he played well. He played very well this year. So he deserves this spot. Very interested to see this All-Star game this year, because there's so many new faces. We talked about it last show that there's so many new stars developing. The evolution of Kyrie Irving, his continued success, makes this All-Star game very special to me, because it's his first one, and he's going to get minutes because, he's a reserve and injured Rondo, so he's definitely going to get minutes. I just love his game, and we know from this past summer his infatuation with taking on Kobe, so I would love to see him and Kobe go one-on-one in the ISO, just that type of stuff right there is what makes me excited about the All-Star game. What about you, Lamar?
And I have to say so too, because and for a player like Kyrie Irving, and who knows what might happen with Eric Spoelstra trying to decide who gets a chance to start. He might even put him in the starting lineup because, well, I mean, looking at him, he's a true point guard. He's had an amazing season, and You know, he might even get it. You know, he'll probably get a chance to play in that. I think the Rising Stars Challenge. He might compete in that Saturday night thing. He might also compete. He'll also compete in the All Star game. I mean, wouldn't it be amazing just to see him get at least one of the awards? Like, just really.
Right, yeah, it's something I would like to see as well. Now, have we found out who's in the dunk contest yet?
We
Has
have
that been
not.
announced?
We have not at this time.
Right. Any faces you would like to see in this year's dunk contest?
Definitely, I would love to see LeBron want to try to do it at least one year.
He's not gonna do it.
But
He's not gonna. Wishful thinking.
I know. But if I could really pick some probably high flyer that might can try to do it, um, let's see. I might need you to help me. I might need you to go first on this one, Rob.
Well, of course I want to see Paul George.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there's a guy. I hate that I don't know his name. A guy from Toronto, high flyer.
DeMar DeRozan, Terrence Ross.
Yeah, him. He did an off the glass dunk earlier this year that really blew my mind. I like to see him. And I always said Paul George. Trying to think of another high flyer, another young high flyer that may be here. I mean, J.R. Smith's come back. I mean, he's done it in 1 year. Why not do it again? No, his legs aren't the same, but he still can throw it down. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Like they find some really raw young talent around years. It makes a lot of guys famous as well.
And I hope they can. And I hope they can. They can do that. And I really like those couple of names that you did say too, because I think they could actually do pretty well. You know, maybe J.R. Smith can try it, and maybe he can try to do it or something like that. Don't you think though do you think they need to have bigger names, or do you mind it being like the younger guys wanting to try to do this?
Bigger names always get more interest and sell more tickets, but I mean, the guys don't want to do it anymore, you know?
You're right.
You can't make them do it, you know, they're not going to do it. So, you know, stop trying to beg them, they're not going to do it. So, you know, get the younger guys. I just wish that we could get more. I wish there was a way to make it go by faster, because sometimes we get the stalls with the missed dunk. Some guys go a little too, they want to get a little too creative, and it ends up stealing some of the momentum. You know, like last year, there was, I think this was last year, it was a Ibaka and the dunk with the kids. It took like 10, 15 minutes just to happen, and there's a lot of interruptions of it, and then sometimes the props get a little ridiculous. Sometimes I wish it could go by a little faster. I'll never forget that 1 year with Chris Birdman Anderson. He had at least, I'm probably under exaggerating, at least 20 minutes on one dunk. You know, there's things like that kind of take away from it. You know, I like the slam dunk contest, but it has its critics. But sometimes they're you know, they are rightful to have the criticism, because I mean it has its hit and misses. You know, one of my favorite dunk contests is kind of underlooked. It was the one with J.R. Smith. It was in Denver. It was J.R. Smith, I think Amar Stoudemire, and I think the guy from Indiana won. But it was a great slam dunk contest to me. I like Jason Richardson's dunk. He's underrated to me. I put him up there with Vince Carter and company. You know, the year Nate Robinson won, I think it was the second time he won. Andre Iguodala had an amazing dunk from behind the glass. Gerald Green blowing out the cupcake. You know, there are very special moments in these dunk contests, but sometimes they get underlooked because the process is so long, or people don't know these guys, or you know, things like that. So we'll see.
Exactly, and we will definitely see. And then to even add one more into it, I think the year that the Dwight Howard did it when it was in New Orleans, and he really stole the show on that one, because you know, that Superman dunk.
That was the one that had a lot of buzz. The second year he did it in was that the year they did it in Dallas? I think it was the year LeBron made the announcement that he was going to do it again, but then he backed out. So it has its moments. I'm actually a huge fan of the 3-point competition. That's always been one of my favorite parts of All-Star Weekend. And it's unfortunate we won't be able to see Kevin Love this year in it. But what are some players you want to see in that competition?
I think, looking at it, I would probably like to see a player like maybe J.R. Smith, Steve Novak. I will definitely love to see him competing in there. O.J. Mayo, at least for the good point of the good start of the year. O.J. Mayo actually had a very nice start to the season in shooting his threes. I like to see him in there. Let's see. I'm trying to see some more players that I really could put in there. But let's see. Kyle, maybe a player like Kyle Korver, maybe he can get in there. Steph Curry, of course.
Right.
Steph Curry. I mean, the guy he is doing a very nice job in shooting threes. JJ Redick, even him. What do you think?
Right.
How about you?
Great name.
I think probably even another person I would like to see in there is actually Danny Green. So who would you also like to see in there, Rob?
I can go with some of the guys you named. Definitely would like to see O.J. Mayo, who's definitely improved. Kevin Durant, the smoothest shot in the NBA. Love to see him in it. Novak. Hell, the whole Knicks starting lineup. The three. All of them like 6 threes. Definitely want to see Novak or J.R. Smith in it. J.J. Redick, like you said. Man, the NBA is blessed with a lot of solid 3-point shooters, but there are a lot of guys that shoot threes that don't need to shoot threes. I've always said this. Have 2 3-point. Have the horrible guys that shoot threes that think they can shoot threes in 3-point contest. Like LeBron. LeBron has in the balls where he hits them, but over his career, his percentage isn't very good. You have Josh Smith, a guy who loves shooting threes, who has sometimes no business shooting threes. Rudy Gay, guys like that. I was like, come on, stop shooting threes. Stop it. Andrew Bynum, add him to the list.
Oh man.
Guys that want to shoot threes, they can't make threes. This is crazy.
Actually, I would think that would be one of the more comical ones if I see Andrew Bynum just YOLOing it up for about 30 different times, just shooting the threes,
Right. It's things like that. But I'm a huge fan of. I'm a fan of the point guard competition. The guard challenge. I'm a fan of that. I remember the first one. I would love to see Steve Nash do it one more time. See Steph Curry. Steph Curry in it. What's another point guard I like? Unfortunately, Rondo can't do it, but Ricky Rubio. Love to see him get added to that.
I'd like to also see. I'll probably also add into the names like Westbrook, CP3, maybe. Maybe D. Will does it, and maybe just for Houston representation, maybe they might get Jeremy Lin to do it.
Yeah. I definitely see Lin doing that. Just because it's in Houston, that's this kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, so I would definitely like to also see that. And then also looking at it, also some of the other stuff too. We actually already know our coaches. Greg Popovich is going to start off. Is actually going to be the West coach, and in the East is going to be Eric Spoelstra. So we already know that's going to be pretty good too.
Kind of wish it was the other way around, but I kind of wish Mike Woodson would have got a pick, got the nod, and maybe Scott Brooks. But hold on. So the Spurs are number 1 team in the West, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So that's usually how it's determined. But I definitely would have wished that Mike Woodson would have got a chance to coach, and due to the Knicks' amazing run, and possibly Scott Brooks Victor. I think they would have gave it a Negro nod, but Pop gets enough to go around. Tim Duncan is now. The Tim Duncan injury, is that going to prevent him from being in the All-Star game? I haven't gotten an update on that.
I have not either, and And it's actually going to be pretty interesting too, because I know that before then he was day to day, and now seeing that he got injured, we're gonna really see we're gonna see if he's gonna actually get a chance to play in this game. But it looks like this according actually to the Spurs Twitter page, just actually it was just announced. They said that he was seen shooting jumpers in practice, so it looks like he might be good to go for it.
Okay.
So I guess he'll probably be able to get a chance to get in there too. And like you said about the about Mike Woodson possibly getting a chance, could have got a chance to get into the All-Star game. You want to know how far the Knicks were probably in order to realize that to happen? Like if the Heat would have lost to the Toronto Raptors, Woodson would have got a chance to be the coach.
Man, so close.
Too close, man. Too close. But that would have been also nice to see too. And also looking at it right now, I'm looking at the power rankings here, and good thing that we are talking about the teams. It seems like ESPN and NBA.com have a consensus number one, and they got the San Antonio Spurs, who quietly are 38-11. They're the best team in the league according to both of them. Now I'm also going to rattle off the top five from both. ESPN has the Spurs 1, Oklahoma City 2, Miami 3, Denver 4, and Golden State at 5, while NBA.com has the Spurs at 1, OKC 2, Heat 3, Nuggets 4, but they also got the Clippers 5. What do you think about those rankings? And how would you rank your top 5?
My top 5 would be number 1, OKC, number 2, San Antonio, number 3, the Miami Heat, the 4 Knicks, 5 Clippers. And the only reason I have the Clippers going before the Nuggets or, placing them over them is because Chris Paul is out. And we know with Chris Paul on that team, they're a much better team. And, I'm interested to see Memphis and how they look now after the Rudy Gay trade, because I haven't seen them yet, but how that's going to work over long term. I'm still flabbergasted at the fact that Rudy Gay was traded. Really have had so much time to trade Rudy Gay. They've had really huge packages, involving Rudy Gay, and they waited now to trade him. Kind of, makes me scratch my head, especially since he was getting into his own this year. And last year, he was the leading scorer. So, kind of interesting to see that happen. I'm not sure about the background behind that trade.
Right. Now, and looking at it, I wouldn't have pulled the trigger on that one. Not right now. I mean, maybe I could have gotten a little bit of a better deal instead of that. And, not saying that Tayshaun Prince is a bad player, of course. I mean, because he's a very good player. But maybe you could have gotten, another team to get in there too, because, maybe you could have got an injury here or there, something like that. That could have happened. But I guess it is what it is, though, and it's just going to be interesting to see what is that going to help out the Grizzlies, or is that going to hurt the Grizzlies? But we already know now with this new luxury tax rules, it's going to be, teams going to have this decision now.
Right.
And so we're really going to see now. Looking at the Raptors, do you think it was a good deal for them to actually get Rudy Gay?
Yeah, it was a good deal. Now, I mean, granted, they have to do what it takes to keep Rudy Gay, but I see it as being a good deal because they're such a young team, and he's their veteran, and the guy can score. So seeing him go there, it definitely helps. And the Raptors have a good defensive-minded coach who's trying to implement it. So I'm sure he can help Rudy Gay improve, and they need his offense. And like I said, they with them being so young, they have a veteran now in Rudy Gay, who a young veteran at that, who can help them, grow and develop. And he's still developing as well. I mean, Rudy Gay is really entering, I guess, the prime of his career, because we've seen that he take that leap last year. He wants the ball at the last play now. He wants to take that last shot of the game. He's not willing to. He doesn't care anymore about passing or wanting to be, the best teammate necessarily. He wants to be the the best player on his team. So, that's good to see. But I'm still curious over the fact that the Raptors, the Grizzlies have lost 2 franchise players in just a year, season time, and OJ Mayo and Rudy Gay. So, we'll see.
We will see about that. And another team, and this pretty much is going to be our last one right here. Another team that's pretty much is going to actually have a pretty big decision is going to be the Boston Celtics too. Right now, you see that Rondo's hurt out for the year, but we also saw that Jared Sullinger is out for the season with his back issues too. If you're Boston, do you think would you blow it up right now, or would you continue to fight for the playoffs?
Oh man, that's tricky because right now, we've seen Doc Rivers call this team out on more than one occasion. Rondo's out for the season. They look to be having chemistry issues. They have so much depth, but they have a lot of issues with Terry trying to get his shot, find his rhythm. Courtney Lee still trying to find his rhythm. Bosa coming in off the bench, not having necessarily fit rotation. The Sullinger injury really takes the cells out of the team because he was doing well. To see him have those back problems again, it really, really hurts not only his stock but the Celtics. We have to. They have the potential to at least make the playoffs in my eyes, at least get the 8th seed, because right now, they have a lot of teams right now that could break that ground. If the Raptors somehow go on an amazing run, the Sixers still have a chance. Just a lot of teams break ground right now. So, I wouldn't blow it up just because there's always next year. I know these guys. I know Garnett is getting older, but he just signed a deal. Paul Pierce wants to retire, so I think he's earned that right. So, I think they should invest, into next season because. They have a team. They have a team that I thought was capable of going to the finals. They just need time to mesh and develop because, like I said, they have the depth. It's just the execution. But I will say this. If they do decide to blow it up, make it worth it. I was saying this earlier in the year that if anybody should get DeMarcus Cousins, it should be the Celtics.
Yes.
Because DeMarcus Cousins has the potential to be one of the best big men in the NBA. He just needs to play in an environment that tames him. Sacramento isn't necessarily an environment because, he doesn't necessarily respect the coach. He's one of the best players on the team. He knows it. There are really no veterans on that team that can really, talk to him and calm him down like a Kevin Garnett in Boston would. So I think if you blow it up right and get younger and get better real fast, and DeMarcus Cousins will be their route. Now, what would they give up to get Cousins? I don't know. I'm sure Sacramento wouldn't want too much, considering the fact that, one, they kind of want to get rid of him because of all the trouble off the court and buying the locker rooms. And they don't even know their fate. They don't know if they're moving. They don't know if they're staying. So, they might be able to get them at a bargain price. So, you give up Brandon Bass, Fab Melo, and Jason Terry, hey, he might have Marcus Cousins.
And I like that idea too, and it could really do wonders for DeMarcus Cousins too. You got yourself a veteran lineup, and Kevin Garnett is not going to play with anything too. Would play any mess, would take any mess or anything else like that too. I think if you're the Celtics right now, I wouldn't blow it up. Mostly for the fact of this. It looks like right now in the East, we already know the 8 teams that are going to make it. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with the Sixers whenever they get Andrew Bynum back in the fray, which they're 3.5 back. But the Celtics have a better chance of making it than they do of missing the playoffs. And we also seen this from the Celtics before. They start horribly. They have started horribly for the last couple of years. But what happened what happened? They find some type of way. They end out the season very well. And hey, look at them now. Look at how they did last year. Look at how they did 2 years ago. Look at how they did in, I think, 2009, 2010 when they made it to the finals unexpectedly. So I wouldn't say blow it up, not quite yet. if you want to though trade a couple of pieces, just get better. Please get better. Do something like that. You know, that's all I'm saying basically.
Right, and I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think it's a little too soon to blow it all up because, I mean, really, I think the bench being the best asset because I don't see anybody really wanting to take Paul Pierce because of his age and maybe his contract.
Mm-hmm.
You already signed Kevin Garnett to another deal, so I mean, other than their bench pieces, I really don't see them having anything to necessarily deal and bring anything really valuable in other than maybe getting Marcus Cousins at a discount because the Kings are kind of frustrated with him.
Oh yeah, and most definitely. Well, we're about to pretty much close out the show. You got any closing comments, Rob?
Look forward to the show Wednesday. I can see us doing the show Wednesday if that's okay with you.
This Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a-okay with me. I am free for that. So we'll do it then. We'll do it this Wednesday. Well, all right. Well, we're gonna conclude the Gafford and Brown Show on that note. I am Lamar Gafford.
And I'm Robert Brown.
And we are going to say we'll see you in about 2 days. Have a nice one and keep on listening to our show.